I just watched the first episode of Lovecraft Country, and honestly, I hadn't planned on even really watching it. The movies, I was on HBO Max, and the movies I was trying to watch, well, I was on HBO. The movies I was trying to watch were on HBO Max. We couldn't get the after work, long story. So I was like, okay. I saw an ad for it, so I was like, I'm somewhat familiar with Lovecraft stuff, so I figured I'd take a watch. And I wouldn't say this is necessarily a review, because a lot of the stuff I'm doing is more of like my opinions and then just things I want to say, not necessarily a critique of camera work, stuff like that. But so far on the first episode, it's definitely good. I'm interested to see episode 2, which I believe came out yesterday, Sunday night, the August 23rd. And like I said, I'm not necessarily familiar with H.P. Lovecraft stuff. I just know little bits from each book, stuff like that. But this series, I don't think it's based on one of his books. I might be wrong. Like I said, I don't know much. But it's about a man who comes back to his hometown to figure out what happened to his dad that's been missing for 2 or 3 weeks, I believe. And the only thing I cannot remember, which I could have looked up, but it takes place in 1928, I believe. That's what I remember. It's very, the biggest, how do I say it? The obstacle that the main character faces quite a bit, at least in the first episode, is race issues, because it's 1928 and being black, that's a whole situation. I think everyone knows their history pretty well. And so I guess I was thrown off guard. I had anticipated it to be very supernatural. Don't get me wrong, there are supernatural elements towards the end of the episode. Not going to say any more than that. But for a while, I was like, okay, is it going to be one of those, the real monsters are human beings? Because that's the vibe you get. The biggest enemy he faces is sorry, my cats are in here and they want to chew on everything. But the biggest enemy he faces, I'd say, is racism, being treated differently for the your skin color, almost being lynched, stuff like that. And it's believable. I'm not going to say it's not believable. It's a serious topic, and they were able to incorporate that era and the issues people faced and incorporate it in the story. The intro, real quick, the intro definitely caught me off guard because it's a dream sequence, but there's just so much happening visually. I mean, you see a UFO, you see like a Cthulhu, you see, if I'm correct, Babe Ruth, I think, number 42. And then there's just so much going on where I was like, what is happening? And then but the main character, it's a dream, and he says he's been reading I can't remember what the book's called, but it's, John Carter and Mars, that whole story. Yeah, this definitely came out of nowhere. I hadn't seen any trailers or anything. I just saw the ad, and I was like, Lovecraft. I know the big deal with Lovecraft is, he was a racist. Everyone knows. But towards the end of his life, he was a product of his time, and he learned different ways. But it's a whole another conversation that you want to have. But it's definitely enjoyable. Pretty monster horror, sci-fi horror in a way, towards the end of the episode. Besides that, I will say the episode does a good job of building up the characters. The main character, Atticus, his uncle, George Freeman. Don't really get to see his aunt. And then a girl, I believe, that he grew up with, went to school with. Her, Letitia Lewis, I believe is her name. I just don't want to accidentally forget their names and misrepresent their character. But I like all their characters, you know, they're believable. They all have a backstory, things that need to unfold and be learned. I like, you know, their acting was real good. And, you know, this isn't a critique, but I do like the camera work. They did a very good job of, when things start getting supernatural, they do a really good job of good spooky angles. I always like that. My only issue is, it's kind of, I guess maybe it's my fault. I watched it in the morning, and so the scenes at night are incredibly dark. I mean, real dark. And I'm wondering if even if I watched them at night, I could figure out what's going on, because it wasn't that bright outside, but I was like, I can't see what is going on. So that, I mean, that's a minor thing. Yeah, I guess that's really it, you know, since it's only episode 1, it's just the beginning, there's really not much to talk about. I'm excited for episode 2. Besides that, channel-wise, I'm still trying to paint a Warhammer Tyranid, first time hand painting, so I'm really trying to get that properly done, and so I can post it on YouTube and not make a fool of myself. I'm playing Mortal Shell on PlayStation 4. I've put a few hours into that. I'll probably make a video, like an impressions video, try to get some footage. That's going to be a little bit new for me to edit. There's that. But just a couple videos. Besides that, when I get my paycheck soon, I'd like to get proper recording equipment, like a LED ring light, a better microphone that I attach to my phone, and a computer, a webcam, because I would love to try to, I have my computer over here, I'd like to try to do, you know, screen recording while you can see me, and just go over some, you know, movie news, because DC fandom, that's something that just happened. I would have loved to have properly recorded that and talk about that, but I just don't have the right equipment, and so I feel a little bit more serious now, and so I gotta paint these model kits, gotta do stuff on the computer, movies, TV shows to watch, catch up on. So it's just me, you know. I am still doing this for just fun, and I appreciate all the people who do watch. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks for tuning in.